But I wanted to circle back to a question that some folks submitted to us today after the panel, kind of about the particular content from today. So participants earlier asked for some clarifying questions about some of the stuff we were seeing in that noontime panel, like what are we seeing at these sites? So folks were asking, right, like what is a weir? What are filter beds? Why is it bad to add water to a wetland? Can someone give a little bit more explanation on the technical situation to help orient people? Can they explain how mineral heavy aquifer water can change the chemistry of the wetland and why that might be bad? So if somebody or a couple of folks want to speak to, again, just some of the specifics of what you're seeing at these sites, what's going on in the land, what are these materials that have been left behind? What are you still seeing? I think that would be great.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about the water. I think that's a great question. Why is it bad to add this extra water to a wetland? Because wetlands are already wet. Yes, wetlands naturally have water, but they are in equilibrium with the setting, the climate, the rain, the snow, the drainage that has been there for a very, very long time. Plants have adapted and evolved. Organisms have adapted and evolved. The wetland is not used to this massive influx of much colder water, especially in the middle of summer. That cold temperature could be problematic for some organisms and plants. Not used to potentially different chemistry. And so it has an effect on that surface wetland, it's gonna change it if it's left unaddressed. And also, as the pressure is released from a deeper aquifer, that aquifer is liable to compact and not be able to store as much water in the future, possibly. So there's a lot of questions. I mean, really, there's a lot of questions out there. These are great questions, and it actually is complicated stuff and would take some pretty in-depth study. It's going to take some resources to do the science right. So that's what I would say about the concern about adding water. Now, why are wetlands important? Let me give one little pitch for why wetlands are so critically important. For one thing, they store water. And we need the plants and the soils that have been evolved to do this there, intact, coherent, to store water so that during a dry period, they can release it out to the stream. Or during a big rainfall, they can store it so the stream doesn't flood out. These wetlands and headwater areas are so critically important. And while it's easy to say, just chop through that one and get rid of that one, we in Minnesota don't know how many we can lose before that Mississippi River is going to be really, really changed and impacted. So that has been our concern from the beginning. There's a lot more I could say about wetlands. I'll stop. Thank you, Jeff, for raising your hand.
Jeff, please.
Well, I wanted to add that it's not only adding the water, it's the chemistry of the water that's coming out. The pictures you saw in the video this afternoon of Moose Lake, you saw this red flocculated material that accumulates where this water is flowing. That means that water in the subsurface has no oxygen in it. So it's deprived of oxygen. It's becoming oxygenated at the surface. That changes the life for a lot of organisms. We know that sulfates, for example, affect wild rice. We don't know the sulfate makeup of this water. It's something that needs to be assessed, and it's likely to be different in different places. We have these 45 outbreaks. They all could be having an impact in that regard. And we didn't talk about the fact that the pipeline cuts off the flow. In LaSalle, we have this wonderful wetland that now we have a cement wall that cuts off the natural flow that's equilibrated since the end of the glaciation, 13,000 years. And now that wetland down gradient has been robbed of that. These water-dependent ecosystems are being destroyed up and down the line, up and down the hill, up and down the river. Thanks.
Thank you for that.